Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. My collar feels like it's open. It shouldn't be. Anyway, happy Monday to you and yours. I am almost recovered, I think is how I would explain it. I feel awesome. Luke, can you hear it in my voice that my voice still isn't 100%? Are you guys 90% there? Let's see if it holds up for the entire show. We have an awesome show planned for you. We're going to go right at it. I've had a week of recovery, or 4 days of recovery, and the entire weekend. We did a show last Monday, and then I was down with what I believe was COVID. I know that ivermectin knocked it out, and some rest and some exercise knocked it out. My voice still not 100%, but good enough to get you through a great show today. You guys hop in the chat and tell me if my voice is a distraction or not, or if I'm losing it. Anyway, it's so good to be back. Although we have a very serious topic we're going to start with today, black fatigue. If you're not on social media, perhaps you're unaware that this conversation is even going on, but it's all over the X app, formerly known as Twitter, black fatigue. I'll just leave you with that tease and tell you about some of the other things we're going to get into today. At the back end of the show, after we're done talking about black fatigue, and that'll be me, and this will be a test of my voice. We'll talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders and what transpired in minicamp. He broke all sorts of minicamp records, and people took notice and are hailing Shedeur Sanders, the Browns' 5th-round quarterback who completed more minicamp passes, I believe, than almost anyone in NFL minicamp history. I believe they're going to retire the jockstrap that Shedeur wore during minicamp as just a way to commemorate all the passes he completed in minicamp. Shedeur Sanders off to an incredible start. And we'll spend a little time, we'll do that with Steve Kim, and we'll also talk with Steve Kim about Bill Belichick. There's been more news on Bill Belichick and whether his girlfriend has been banned from the facility. Belichick, I believe, yesterday went to the Miss Maine pageant to support his young sugar baby, his tenderoni, Jordan Hudson. We'll talk about that as well with Steve Kim. A fantastic show. But before we get into any of that, and stay tuned, this black fatigue conversation is going to be amazing. I do want to remind you all, and I haven't been able to do this for a week, and it's troubled me, to talk about our friends at Preborn. When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she often feels alone and afraid. So many times her first response is to seek out an abortion. But because of the generosity of listeners like you, that search may lead her to a Preborn network clinic where she will choose life, not just for her baby, but for herself. Preborn offers God's love and compassion to hurting women and then provides a free ultrasound to introduce them to the life growing inside of them. This combination brings the ultimate miracle, life. Life is why Preborn exists. They've saved 200 babies every single day. Maddie, she was in a tough situation and she wasn't sure who the father was. But after receiving counseling, prayer, and a free ultrasound at a Preborn network clinic, everything changed. Maddie discovered she had twins and found the strength she needed to choose life. Her sorrows turned to joy. Join the fight with Maddie and many others as your tax-deductible donation of $28 sponsors one ultrasound. How many babies can you save? Please donate your best gift today. Just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 keyword baby. Or go to preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. Guys, I haven't said that in a week, and I've missed saying that. I've missed sharing that with you all. The greatest gift you can give is life. You want to put a smile on your own face. You want to put a smile on God's face. Donate to Preborn. Best thing you can do today. Send me an email when you do. I'd appreciate it. It inspires me. All right, let's get into today's topic. It's a heavy one, and I think we're going to be in this topic for a couple of days. I'm going to unpack it today, and then tomorrow I'm hoping to have a panel on to discuss this topic because I think it's critically important. Black fatigue. If you have not heard the term, if you're not on X, formerly known as Twitter, you may be unaware that this conversation is going on. But if you're on social media and if you understand the impact of X/Twitter, and that like the Black Lives Matter movement started on Twitter, and now there's a response movement being started on Twitter, and it's called Black fatigue, and it is the antithesis. It is the yin to the yang of Black Lives Matter. It's white people loudly, boldly expressing their fatigue with black people. This is and was inevitable. And that's why I spent so much time during the whole Black Lives Matter psyop, about a decade, saying like, this is crazy. Black Lives Matters is going to create a boomerang effect. It's going to harden hearts. You're not going to host a decade-long discussion on social media and in mainstream media about how awful white people are and what victims we are. And oh my God, once every 3 or 4 months, there's a controversial police-involved shooting with a resisting career criminal. That was inevitably going to spark a backlash. And now the backlash is here, and it's called Black fatigue. Punch that into Twitter and see what comes up. There are social media accounts dedicated to showing videos of black people behaving dysfunctionally, violently, inappropriately, not just in Spirit Airlines, Frontier Airlines, not just on Carnival cruises, but damn it, if you let them on Royal Caribbean, the same thing will happen there. You let them inside a Wendy's, the same thing will happen there. There's an endless parade of these videos, and they're all about black fatigue. Like, I'm tired of black folks. Black folks have raised their hand and volunteered to be the enemies of white people, and to be the people that we want to cast white people as the worst thing on the planet. And eventually, people's patience has worn out and was going to wear out. It was inevitable. And now it's here. And it's not just these videos that are causing the fatigue. It's the illogic that is spoken constantly in the mainstream media and out of the sports world. I want to start with Draymond Green. And you'll think, well, what are you talking about here? But this is what people are tired of. Here's Draymond Green after another conflict with fans, after another technical foul, after more poor interaction. This happened late last week. But Draymond Green goes on to complain about how he's tired of being cast as an angry black man. Play shot number 10.
Look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
Draymond Green, with that angry response and his angry behavior, he's painted himself this way. There is no agenda. And the inference that, oh, this is systemic racism, and oh, it's just so hard. Draymond Green, what was it, 2 years ago? Someone correct me if I'm wrong, ruined the Golden State Warriors' start to the season by punching Jordan Poole, and it's on video, in the face, in practice, ruined their season. Draymond Green's on-court behavior, all the fights, the kicks, the dirty plays, this is his brand. This is the image he created of himself. And now he wants to complain about it. Hey, I'm not cast in the right light. I'm a successful black man. I'm tall and play basketball. I have a family. I cracked a joke that some people didn't get because, and again, I got to be careful with my sarcasm and self-deprecation, but I'm just like, I cracked a joke over X over the weekend that, you know, I'm tired of being portrayed as an overweight black man. And I'm like, well, who's doing that? I did that. I overate. This is insanity. And so part of the black fatigue is the illogic that is spewed by all the people in high-profile positions in sports, in the media, high-profile black influencers over social media. The illogic is suffocating, and it's tiring, and it's creating a fatigue of like, hey, look, if they have a prominent position in the sports world, if they're on some mainstream media outlet, there's a good chance they're going to say something illogical, and I'm tired of it. And I don't blame white people for being tired of it, because I'm tired of it. Everybody's tired of it. And we'll get into this here in a second, but if you can show me white athletes consistently or even inconsistently saying stupid things about that are just illogical. If I'm trying to think, Tom Brady, I'm tired of being portrayed as a tall, good-looking white quarterback. I just don't hear that out of Tom Brady. Baker Mayfield, let's try this one. I'm tired of being portrayed as a hothead. He was a hothead, got run out of Cleveland and failed, and people, Colin Cowherd, others were calling him a hothead, had no emotional control. He had to fix that rather than lash out and say it was part of some racist conspiracy. I want to show you another. I mean, because the fatigue is just overwhelming, and the lack of strategy, the illogic, the checkers move in a chess game from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I want to play SOT number 9, where she says that white people are inherently violent. Play the clip.
I mean, I'm not going to say that like a left-leaning person cannot be violent, because that would be like crazy to say that somebody can't be. But baby, y'all got the white supremacists galore, okay? Like all of them. You got the Proud Boys, you got the neo-Nazis. You have people that literally should be classified as domestic terrorists, because a lot of times that is what they are doing. They're engaging in domestic terrorism. And guess what? They all align with your side.
Yeah.
Including the KKK. So like, I mean, this is who aligns with that. So like inherently in like who you are, y'all are violent.
This is so illogical. The KKK, started by the Democratic Party, she's blaming on Republicans and conservatives. And the ghetto-ness of her presentation, that she's a congresswoman, and she's presenting herself in this super ghetto fashion. If you're not fatigued by Jasmine Crockett, what planet are you living on? What you can say, well, she's no different than Marjorie Taylor Greene. I guess you could make that argument, but I don't buy it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is not that kind of illogical. And Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't doing some cosplay. You can find videos of Jasmine Crockett sounding and presenting herself in a very intelligent, non-ghetto way. This is an act, and everybody knows it. And people are fatigued by it. I want to thank my team for reminding me of things that I forgot to remind myself and forgot. But they've before I got sick last week, a gentleman sent me an email, and I was going to use it in the show, and my team has put it up in prompter for me. Thank you guys so much for having my back and covering for me when this is helping me make my argument. This is an email I got, and I hope if we put it on screen, which I kind of hope we don't, because I don't want to put this guy's full name on screen. There we go. Okay, good. We blocked out the name. Hello, this is an email I got last week from a gentleman, and it struck me really, really hard because he mirrors a lot of my thoughts and what a lot of people, this fatigue goes well beyond white people. Black people have black fatigue. Our brand has been destroyed, completely destroyed by this matriarchal feminist culture and these unfathered people. But let me read this email. Hello, Mr. Whitlock. My name is so-and-so. I'm a 42-year-old Christian husband, father, black police officer in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. I've done this job for more than 8 years, and I'm tired. I first heard of your show after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I was scrolling YouTube for coverage on it and came across an episode you did on it. I was hooked on your show ever since. I enjoy hearing someone put God in the conversation. Why am I writing? I have no outlet. I have nowhere to turn. The past 5 years have hurt me personally and professionally. I really saw the hatred in the hearts of people ever since St. George Floyd. So many things were wrong in this case. The black community only saw a white cop kill, in quotations, a black man. That's what the media showed them. Never mind the officer's body cam, the training manual showing the technique performed, the autopsies, and the level of fentanyl in his system that is a direct link to the cause of death in the autopsies. You know this already. I'm upset because of January 6th, not the event itself, but the selective outrage over it. Everyone immediately forgot the entire second half of 2020 nationwide. I'm upset because of Yaqub Talib killing a black, only mentioning color to show the selective outrage, father of Mike Hickman in front of his son. You covered this for about a week. Crickets from the mainstream, crickets from the community. Salute to you for covering that. The hatred of police officers has really scarred me. I've left my church. I've had family members turn against me and call me a weak, racist murderer, so on and so forth. I've not been involved in any of these national events. I just happen to wear a badge, 2 + 2 = coon. Fast forward to this past Thursday in Cincinnati, Ohio, there was an officer-involved shooting involving an 18-year-old named Ryan Hitler and the Cincinnati Police Department. What I know so far is that he was in a stolen car, ran from police with a gun in his hand, dropped it, went to pick it up, and police shot him. Details are still being sorted out. The issue is what happened the next day. Ryan's father, Ryan Hinton Jr., purposely ran over and killed retired Deputy Larry Henderson of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. The black community rejoiced. An eye for an eye. It's about time, etc. Now it puts me in a place where I wonder why I still do this. Racial idolatry is strong where the belief in Christ isn't. Why does my demographic not accept any accountability? Why are we so violent and always claim victim? Why is the community that hates me the most need me the most? I'm tired of having to defend my job and existence to people who have never done anything of significance for anyone. I'm expected to do that while never getting any credit for it. I guess I'm writing because you turn on the camera and assign accountability where the mainstream doesn't. I respect you for that. A few of my colleagues tell me to turn on the camera and just go. I think about it sometimes just to have an outlet. Anyway, thank God for your courage, humility, and desire to grow in Christ. Respectfully, so-and-so. This email hit me because anybody like this officer, myself, who align with conservative values. And again, it's my values are biblical. They're framed in the world as conservative. But anybody with my skin color who aligns with conservative values is constantly dragged and reviled and looked at as an idiot, not just with a stupid criminal element, but even among their family, even among their so-called friends. There's a price, and it's comical. People will argue like, oh, Jason Whitlock and this police officer, they've sold out. They're doing it for money. Someone made this allegation at me this weekend and said that, you know, I'm just trying to please my audience, and my audience is these white people, I think they said. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? There's so much more money for arguing that white people are evil and the devil and are inherently racist. So much more money in mainstream media, in every aspect of the media. If you're black and willing to go on TV and scream and yell that the white man is the worst thing on the planet and that, you know, we need to remodify the Constitution, and, you know, a lot of this stuff in the Bible is outdated and doesn't work now. So much more money for that than standing on some sort of biblical worldview or conservative worldview if you're black. What you're left with is to be reviled even in your own family. And it creates a fatigue that I sit and I'm looking at white people tweet out things and I'm like, man, I got that same fatigue. And I saw, we didn't call for this clip and I don't need it, but Mike Wilbon from Pardon the Interruption and ESPN was on the show Get Up last week and was asked about Draymond Green's comments about being portrayed as an angry black man. And Mike brought up Arthur Ashe and danced around a little bit like being black is a full-time job. And most people heard it as Mike defending Draymond Green. I didn't hear it that way. And I don't want to put words in Mike's mouth. But I'm going to speculate on why he said what he said and why I didn't hear it as a defense of Draymond Green. I heard it as, okay, I can only go so far. I work at ESPN. I don't want the headache of a Twitter Black Lives Matter tweet storm. I have an 18-year-old child who carries my name. I don't want him in the crosshairs. I don't want people going after my child, my wife, my extended family. So I'm going to try to cleverly say what I really think while providing myself cover and so that me and my family won't come under attack. And so he said something about Arthur Ashe and how Arthur Ashe back in the 70s was quoted as saying, you know, being a black man feels like a full-time job. And that he could relate to Draymond Green, and he could understand why black men were angry. That's the gist of what Mike said. And people tweeted me, did you see what Wilbon said? And I went and listened to it for myself. And people aren't hearing what I heard. And I could be wrong, but this is my speculation as it relates to Mike. He has a fatigue with carrying the burden of being an educated, accomplished black man. And there is a burden because he's locked in a box that he has to be careful what he says at all times. He could put his young son in the crosshairs. He could put his wife in the crosshairs, put his brother, his extended family in the crosshairs. These social media demons could come after him and his extended family and his immediate family. And so it's like he's walking through a landmine and he can't say, and this is what I heard. I'm not saying this is what he said, but this is what I heard. Man, I work at a network where I went to Northwestern University, graduated, put together a Hall of Fame sports journalism career at the Washington Post. One of the 15, 20 most accomplished sports writers of my era at the Washington Post. I came over to ESPN with Tony Kornheiser, and we created a show, pardon the interruption, that has been the most dominant ratings driver at ESPN for 20 consecutive years. And this network, my reward for that is this network said, Mike, that's pretty good what you did, but do you see this clown over here, Stephen A. Smith, who fabricated a college basketball career at Winston-Salem State? That Winston-Salem State, in comparison to Northwestern, he's just keeping it real and factual. Take out the racial idolatry. Stephen A. Smith didn't get half of the SAT score necessary to get into Northwestern. He had to go all the way down to Winston-Salem State, where they let anybody with a heartbeat and a 2.0 GPA or a 1.0 GPA into school. He fabricated a basketball career. He's fabricated a journalism career in comparison to Mike Wilbon. Mike Wilbon belongs in anybody's newspaper Hall of Fame sports columnist wing. Stephen A. Smith could barely write. And this isn't hate, these are facts. Editors had to dress up everything Stephen A. Smith ever wrote. And ESPN said, this guy, this pathological liar, this clown with the fabricated background, this is who we're going to throw our support behind. F Mike Wilbon. F his Northwestern degree. F his career at the Washington Post. F his accomplishments with pardon the interruption. We prefer the buffoon and the clown with the made-up background over Mike Wilbon. And you telling me Mike Wilbon ain't angry? All that he's done at ESPN? He was there before Stephen A. Smith. There would be no Stephen A. Smith without Mike Wilbon. And Mike Wilbon is sitting here going, and Bob Iger is running this buffoon and clown and pathological lie. They're running him for president of the United States of America. Someone who hasn't mastered sports gets caught lying and uninformed, not knowing a damn thing about sports constantly. Yeah, Mike Wilbon's angry. And he feels like, damn, I played by a set of rules and I did things the right way based on merit, all the love and support they're throwing behind Stephen A. Smith, if it was just based on merit, that love and support and those contracts and all that we accomplished with Pardon the Interruption, all those things would be going to me. Yeah, he's angry. And he thinks it's tough. He thinks that a world has been built that disfavors the accomplished black man and favors the buffoons and puppets. So yeah, Mike Wilbon's angry. He's got black fatigue. He can't say it. He can't say what he really thinks. They've built a machine and a system that if you say what you really think, you're going to cost yourself a lot of opportunities, a lot of money, and you're going to create all kinds of headaches in your personal life. His son has to carry the Wilbon name. And Mike Wilbon's sitting there like, if I do too much and become the enemy of the puppet masters, then I'm putting my son in harm's way. I'm creating friction in my personal life with my wife. I'm making all kinds of financial sacrifices. I'm not caping up for Mike Wilbon. I'm not excusing people for their acts of choosing comfort over picking up a cross and carrying it. I'm not requiring everybody to have my faith. I'm explaining the world that has been created. And I'm not asking for a level of sympathy for Mike Wilbon or myself, because they've created just as dangerous and treacherous a world for the average white man here in America. There are things that the average white man wants to say that are factual, that he knows come with a price tag, not just for himself, but for his wife and his kids and his extended family, and he could compromise his social status. People want to enjoy their time here on earth. And if you pick up this cross and you just stand on truth constantly, your level of enjoyment, worldly enjoyment, is going to decrease. And so now people have been so bullied. The white man has been so bullied that he's finally bucking up and finally like, hey man, I'm over it. My silence is way too dangerous. My kids are in jeopardy. If I'm silent, my kids are in jeopardy. If I speak out, my kids are in jeopardy. So I might as well speak out. And I'm here for it. I think it's great. I think it's inevitable. I think it's necessary. And if you're a black person listening to this and you're upset and you're bothered, I don't want you to go anywhere, because I want to paint a picture for you on where this is headed. And I'm going to draw an analogy between Native Americans, the Indians, and American black people. And I know things are different, times are different. Television, the iPhones, the smartphones, the laptops, the propaganda machines are so much stronger than in the 17, 18, and early 1900s. And there's a mass psychosis that's gone on, that has taken root. And so it won't be as easy as it was when America was like, hey, we got to get to some final solutions here on the Native Americans. It was easier to do that in the 1800s than it is in 2025, because there's so much more propaganda out here. And so many white people have been programmed to hate themselves and to have guilt about themselves. And they've been so propagandized about their history. But my Bible tells me that the truth eventually wins out. And that human nature eventually is only going to take so much. And there's a level of fatigue that it ain't just with black people, but it's also with Jewish people. There's a level of fatigue, and people have reached that very publicly as it relates to black fatigue, and it's becoming very, very public as it relates to Jewish fatigue, Israel fatigue, Zionism fatigue. There's a fatigue level here that is dangerous. I'm going to further explain, but I want to take a second to talk to you guys about one of our newest sponsors that, look, it's a tiny bit. When you first hear it, it's like, hey, that's kind of off brand for Whitlock, Christian show, but it's not. Those of you that have down the line in your marriage journey, some of you men reached your 40s, 50s, 60s, and even some of you young men, you want a boost in the bedroom to please your wife. Blue Chew can do that for you. There's nothing sexier than confidence. Blue Chew can help give you confidence where it counts. Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong, it'll knock her socks off. And maybe she'll be so pleased, you'll be the hero that you've always wanted to be. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at bluechew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try our first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code FEARLESS. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code FEARLESS. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's episode. All right, let me get back to black fatigue, because it's all over social media. And I want to play you just some clips here so you understand what I'm talking about. And if you remember, we went several years on X, on Twitter, where once every 3 or 4 months, there would be a video of police perhaps being aggressive with some black resisting criminal. And there's a plot. They're killing black men once every 3 months. It's a genocide. At this rate, by the year 50,026,000,000, black American men won't exist. They're killing 3 or 4 of us a year in an inappropriate fashion. The police are out of control. And we saw people go on TV. I'll never forget, Nick Wright went on TV on Colin Cowherd's show. Nick Wright's married to a black woman, has some black stepson, and he went on TV and said, me and my wife, we've forbidden our 18-year-old boy from driving. He must take Uber everywhere because we're so afraid he'll be killed by police. Comical. Absolutely comical. But this is the kind of illogic. And I know Nick Wright isn't black. I don't think he's white either. I think he's part of a tribe, but who knows? This is the kind of illogic that was passed around and commonplace everywhere. And so now, white people, there's a a Twitter feed by Lauren Witzke, I think. There's one called White Ghost. There's several of these. All they do is pump out black idiocy videos, black violence videos, black yelling and screaming in public videos, black women fighting videos. Here's the one that really caught my attention this weekend. I'm going to start with the worst case. This is SOT number 1. This is a young white boy on a playground. Looks like he's 10, 11, 12 years old. He tries to walk away from a fight. Watch this video. Play SOT 1.
You want to come up behind me and kick me in the back?
No, so he got you the bag. Oh, no, what's this?
It's a sickening video. That happened in, I believe, Anderson, Indiana in late April. It's a sickening video. Little chubby white kid trying to avoid conflict, walking away. Some boy that wasn't even in the fight comes up in black from behind and cold cocks this dude, knocks him to the ground, bloodies his face and eye. Sickening. Sickening. And I'm going to play you other videos, not as violent, not as bad as that one. But these are being passed around constantly, and people will say, hey, I've had it. These people are so undisciplined, so unfathered, no emotional control. I don't want to live around them. This is what white people are saying publicly. Black people say the exact same thing every time they get a raise on their job and move away from black people. Saying the exact, so the fatigue is everywhere. And it has to be addressed. We're going to end up the new Native Americans. And I know many of you have bought the lie that, oh, these Native Americans, these Indians, they were so peaceful and they just wanted to be one with the earth. And these white, evil people came and just took their land from them. And, oh, they met the Native Americans, all they just want to do is sit around and smoke a peace pipe and chill, hunt a few buffaloes. This is all lies. They were conquered. Like people have been conquered all over the world from the beginning of time. Advanced cultures come in and conquer the less advanced culture. In the Native American, there's a book, I think, called Scalp Dance. It's written by, I think, Thomas Goodrich. It's an amazing book that fairly walks you through the history of the great Indian settler wars in the late 1800s as settlers moved west. And it describes in tremendous detail and fairness what was at the root of these conflicts. And it wasn't a group of peaceful Native Americans just smoking a little weed, trying to kill buffalo and eat some buffalo and just hanging with their girls, and all these evil white people came. No, this was a savage culture that was incompatible with a more civilized culture. I'm not talking about white people being perfect, because they're not. But I'm talking about Christian culture as opposed to all them gods the Indians believe in. I'm talking about Christian culture that has a Bible, a book, a foundational book, the Word of God, as a standard of truth and a standard of behavior, rather than people just smoking weed, sitting out under the moon, making up stuff as they go. If you want a civilized society, you need a foundational piece of work, a Bible, a Constitution, a Bill of Rights, a Declaration of Independence. This is how societies advance. When people are just sitting around getting high and sitting under the moon, that's how you never develop a wheel. That's how you never build anything. Because you're too high to build anything and you don't have a foundation, a written document to stand on. And so I'm just telling you, we look like and are being branded like the Native Americans, the Indians, who had a savage culture. Oh, Whitlock, he's selling out for the white man. I'm sold out for Jesus Christ. I'm sold out for this book, this foundational piece of information, the Word of God. And you can cape up and oh, I'm going to defend these Native Americans. All they sat under the moon and smoked some weed and killed a buffalo. And I wish I was with them. I'd like to be in a teepee. I don't want to be in this air-conditioned apartment. I don't want to be in this air-conditioned home. I want to be in a teepee smoking weed, laying in the grass with snakes and spiders. Keep telling yourself that lie. But we have established, have been drawn into, are defending a savage culture, a prison culture. All of these videos that I'm about to show you, this is a reflection of a savage, unfathered culture. This book established marriage and the nuclear family. They didn't establish marriage and the nuclear family sitting out under a teepee, getting high. This book did that. God did that. And it birthed a great advanced society that everybody is welcome to join. That Christians, people like me, we go out and try to execute the Great Commission and invite everyone into our faith. Native Americans, Somalians, Koreans, Brazil, anybody, come on into this faith. We're not like some other faith where they don't want anybody to join other than them. They want it all decided off of DNA. We're not like that. You adopt these principles, these values, we're all good. Late last week, or maybe it was early last week, I went to dinner. I don't want to name drop, so I'm not going to. I apologize for not using the name. It'll just sound like, but I went to dinner with someone really, really famous. There was a big group of us, and the famous person, one of his guys that was there with it, I think it was his brother-in-law, and this is a famous white person. Brother-in-law came up to me, after dinner, we were all sitting around talking, and first thing, he's like, oh, you think like me. We think the same thing. We have the same values. And he shook my hand and gave me a hug. And I'm not saying this like, oh, this made me feel so good. I'm saying it because this is the essence of a fundamental truth. If you share the same values with someone, they don't care what color you are. They care that you share the same values. That's the fundamental organizing principle of Christianity. It's not about what you look like, it's about what you believe. And so this whole racial thing that they got going, it's all a gimmick and a work. It's the people want to be around people who share their values. People want to be, oh, you believe in marriage? You believe in the nuclear family? Oh, you believe in supervising the kids that you bring into this world? Oh, you don't want to listen to music that's profanity every other syllable? Oh, I like you. I want to live around you. If you're going to be blaring music that is profane and constantly talking about sex and violence and drug dealing and glorifying drug dealers and glorifying killing each other, oh, I don't want to be around you because I don't want to hear that music. I don't want to let that poison into my situation, into my family. I don't want that savagery. I may go watch a movie or two, but I'm smart enough to realize the difference between a movie and music that actually writes on your heart. I'm aware of studies that tell me music and how it can affect your health and your health recovery. I'm aware that music seeps into your soul and changes your worldview in a way that movies and other art doesn't. So I don't want to be around that savage BS that you're dumping into your system. I used to dump it into mine. People don't want to be around that because I'm going to show you what that savage culture, what it creates. I want to show you what that unfathered, when 80% of your kids are growing up in homes without their two biological parents, without a father. I want to show you what the unfathered look like. It's a hot mess, and people are tired of it. So this is the type of videos that are just everywhere over social media. I just selected a handful. There's 2 or 3 of these a day, everywhere. Let's play shot number 2. This is one black women just nonchalantly robbing a Ross store. Play the clip.
Ladies, go out the store. Then when you keep going, go ahead, go out the store. Go out the store. Go out the store. Smile. Smile. They laughing. It's crazy.
Here, this next clip, here's some black women wrecking a convenience store. Let's play shot number 3.
You got no stop. You are no stop. You are no stop, nigga. I don't give a fuck, nigga. I don't my daughter's 18. Bitch, stay in your lane. She's a kid, bitch. Stay in your lane, bitch. Cover behind that counter, bitch. Cover behind the counter. I'm not scared of 12, bro. Fuck you think this is, bitch? Put your phone up. You think I'm scared of 12 right now?
We're in public.
Bro.
I hear the complaints. This isn't the majority of black people. And it's not. But when white people were saying, hey man, this ain't the majority of cops. And you know, a lot of these cases, George Floyd, he died of a drug overdose. George Floyd brought this on himself. But you wanted to pretend like Derek Chauvin represented all of white America and all white men. And none of you virtually none of you raised your voice and said, hey man, this is some BS. Derek Chauvin was on the scene of a drug overdose, and this idiot George Floyd brought it on himself. And even me saying that 5 years later, many of you are irate. How dare you? St. George Floyd. Derek Chauvin's the worst animal on the planet. You're still under that mass psychosis. You're still telling yourself that lie. But all the police-involved shooting videos, they've disappeared. How come? But they got a daily supply of the unfathered acting like wild animals. And everybody's in denial that there's a consequence. Do we have the over the shoulder, the unfathered? That there's a consequence to having all of these unfathered people running around. All of these people that come from a single parent home, grandmama raised home, we act like there's no consequences to this. When this book is quite clear, the Bible is quite clear what it believes in a nuclear family, mama and daddy raising them kids, and we act like 80% of these kids growing up in single parent homes, there's no consequences to that. Yes, there are clear consequences, and we look at it every day. And we just want it to go away magically rather than address the root cause of that problem. And it's the rejection of the nuclear family, the rejection of marriage, the rejection of God's covenant that he designed for man, woman, and himself. And we've rejected that. And we're good with the consequences, even though our kids are completely out of control. And they're incompatible with a society that wants and believes in the nuclear family. Let's play. This is just, it's not just the violence towards white people, and I could have shown video after video of that. We can't get along with each other. Here's some Frontier Airlines, nope. I want Spirit Airlines. I want to play SOT number 5. Spirit Airline employees, they can't stand each other. Play the clip.
Go suck another dirty dick. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. Do not play with me, because I'm not the one nor the two. You're not the one or the two. Let's go. You ain't got shit to. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Why you keep speaking on me for nothing?
Like I said, keep my fucking name out your mouth, bitch.
Keep my name out your mouth, because mine has always been yours for some reason.
No, some reason.
It
Back
always
the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here before I slap the shit out of
You're
you.
not gonna smack shit.
Try me.
You think you're fucking tough? I'm not
Try
trying
me.
to.
Try me, Tinkito. I mean, I'm drop kicked your ass. Fuck out of here, you dirty bitch.
Now, off a handful of videos showing the police turning a little aggressive with some resisting criminal, we created a national holiday, Juneteenth. People got promotions on their jobs. People got opportunities that they hadn't earned. Everybody knows this, that in the aftermath of George Floyd, white guilt run amok. You get this TV show, you get this job, we're doing this on our job, you get this day off. We're doing sensitivity training. We're bringing in an overweight black woman to come preach to y'all about diversity, equity, and inclusion and how to be anti-racist. People making millions off of books, all of this stuff. All off the back of George Floyd and a couple other career criminals who got eliminated by police who had black fatigue. Look at this is on Mother's Day. Yesterday was Mother's Day. Look how we celebrated. Let's play SOT number 8. This is a Mother's Day brawl. So at this point, and maybe, hey, send them to me. My email is fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. I want you to send me the white versions of these videos. And maybe there's millions of them, and I'm just not, they're not showing up on my top. The algorithm feeds you what you're interested in and what you click on. There's just as many of these showing white people. I don't see it. Maybe my feed just isn't the right one. Send them to me. We'll play them on tomorrow's show. Here's, again, this anger that comes from being unfathered. And no one, everybody wants to talk about white racism. This is why black people are angry. No, you grow up without a daddy in the home. You grow up with your parents divorced. You grow up in that kind of instability, being raised by a single parent. You turn angry most of the time. And you can't control that anger because there's been no man in your life to provide logic and reason and a way to move on a chessboard. And so you're constantly playing checkers and you're angry. And when you see a white person, you go, oh, that white person, they had a father. I hate them. And so you start treating them like this Frontier Airlines employees. Could you imagine being on your job, knowing someone's holding up a camera, videotaping you, you got your camera out, videotaping them? Could you imagine behaving this way? Let's play SOT number 4.
They made that flight, you didn't. And you think, oh, you're going to check me in. I bet you we won't. Okay?
I paid for a ticket.
And you
I paid for a
$25
ticket.
for agent assistant, and you checked in 3 hours later. Hello.
I just said that
you get on your flight.
Yeah, I just said that I would pay the
And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight. And you thought you was going to get on your flight.
I literally paid for a ticket. I'm here 30 minutes. I'm here 30 minutes before my flight, and they're not letting me check in.
And you're not getting on your flight.
Because it's a policy. We don't control that.
And you will never fly.
You were about to let me check in. You were about to let me check in, and you decided that you ain't gonna let me check in.
Make me check you in.
You literally work for a company that I bought a plane ticket for.
Angry. And I don't know these women personally. They may have had the greatest fathers in the world. I doubt it, but they may have. I do know there's a culture, baby mama, matriarchal culture, that black people are herded into like cattle, and they're gatekept, and they're policed into, you must adhere to this culture. And the strong, angry, stand up for herself black woman, I don't need no man, black woman, she rules everything. And these women are behaving in a way that brings honor to black culture. That's no different, or it's just a different form of Native American culture, a savage culture. No emotional control, no ability to look at others and, hey, that's my Christian brother, and I'm going to treat them like my Christian brother. I'm going to treat them how I want to be treated. Always assuming the worst. Let's play SOT number 7 again. And these are just a handful. I'm telling you, there's dozens of these virtually every day. Let's play SOT 7. This is an incident at a Wendy's, one of my favorite fast food places. I miss you, Wendy's, Dave Thomas. Anyway, play the clip.
You came in here. You didn't even tell me about doing anything to rectify the situation. Fuck you, bitch. They get out my face. Somebody give me the number. Who your general manager? Bitch, like I said, every time I come in here, you fucking yelling at somebody. Bitch, I come here every day for my lunch break. Eat me, bitch. You can say that shit walking away. Now, how about that? Fuck all of this shit, bitch. Fuck it all. Call her. Let's go, baby. Now, pick it up, bitch.
What type of future do you think that young boy has? That's his role model. I'm assuming that's his mother. Maybe it's his grandmother. Who knows? Maybe it's his babysitter. This woman got her arms all around this baby boy and behaving that way in public. What is she discipling this young boy for? What hope in life? That child is mentally abused. That I wouldn't say snatch him away from this woman, because foster care and all that other stuff is no walk in the park. It's not a solution. But if you're wondering why so many young black boys, young black men behave like women, have no emotional control, sit around and believe that respect from some outsider that they don't know is the most important thing in the world. You're not going to disrespect me. And how they become a puppet on the string for someone else, is in control of their emotions, in control of their happiness, in control of their mood, in control of everything. If someone says the wrong thing to them, oh, please, don't call me a name. Don't call me the N-word. Because now I've been discipled in a way that if I perceive any disrespect, I get to behave like that woman did at Wendy's. You wonder why there's a fatigue? There's no fathers. There's no discipling. There's out of control women with their emotions. And they're angry because they don't have a man. And they're angry because they don't even know how to get a man. And they're angry because their mother or the female leaders in their family aren't going to advise them on the necessariness of man. They're going to ignore the Bible and God's commandments, God's advice. They're going to raise their daughters. You don't need a man. You need a job and a white man to report into on a job, and then you need to do whatever the hell you want to with the rest of your life. And they don't care about the incarceration rates of black boys. They don't care about the low academic achievement of black boys. They don't care because they can't stand men. They've bought into feminism. They can quote scripture, but they don't believe a word of it. They're unfathered. And people have fatigue. I'm going to give you the last example of the fatigue, because this is where this line is really drawn in the sand. And black people can relate to it. White people are finally finding their voice and saying, hey, I'm done. I'm not putting my kids through this. I don't want my kids at a school where the unfathered are also at the school, and now my kids are subject to their lack of emotional control. Nobody wants to be the Metcalf family. They don't want an Austin Metcalf situation. What was the kid? Ethan Liming, the white boy that died on LeBron James's school parking lot over a squirt gun incident. They don't want to be around this and around the people that defend this. There's a fatigue here that is long overdue, but it is here. And once you're allowed to speak it out loud, and that's why they tried to police what you could say out loud, because you can't speak things into existence. Once you're willing to say things, hey, Jason, I don't eat fast food anymore. And I started saying that over, and I haven't eaten at a fast food place in more than 3 years. You can speak, and so now you've been given license in this new world, in this backlash to BLM. You can say, you know what, I'm tired of black folks. They have a set of values that are incompatible with my values. They have a savage culture that they believe in and they defend. And here's what is the line in the sand. It's no different than this whole drag queen story hour and drag-friendly, child-friendly, kid-friendly drag shows. Like, hey, man, you got to leave my kids out of this mess. I'm an adult. I can deal with it. But now that my kids are in jeopardy, now I got to say something and I got to draw a line in the sand. I want you to watch these teachers attempt to stop a young unfathered girl, speculation on my part, lose her mind and try to destroy another student. Play shot number 6. Complain all you want. What about Brett Favre? Oh, it's just money. If they had more money. How many rappers with gold chains and cash in their pocket have to die, have to be involved with violent crime before? Money ain't fixing this. Only a set of values will fix this. Only marriage and the nuclear family will fix this. They won't allow you to have this conversation on mainstream TV. They've hired a bunch of puppets to get on TV and, oh, it's racism, it's racism. And, oh, if there was just more money. And it's a lack of money. No, it's a lack of values. It's a lack of commitment to a set of values. It's the absence of God. And it's the absence of the patriarchy. Those are the real solutions. And so what I would say to the white people that have had their fill of black fatigue and the black people, you need to lean into some real hardcore decisions and support things that people think I'm crazy when I sit there and say, hey man, we need to change the way we vote. Families need to vote. Married couples need to vote. No one else. Anything that disrupts the nuclear family must be overturned. And that includes same-sex marriage. It has to be overturned. Has to be. And all you gay people mad at me for saying that. I'm for only married people voting. I'm unmarried. This society, if it wants to save itself, has to empower man, woman, and child in a covenant with God. Only married man and woman, and they get one vote between them. I don't care who cast it. Be the wife, can be the husband. Those are the only people that need to vote. And that way, our politicians would be in pursuit of, well, I got to cater all my policies to families. and I have to pursue what's in the best interest of families. I don't have to worry about Jason Whitlock. He's not married, and he's selfish. I don't have to worry about him. I don't have to, these gay people that are, I ain't got to worry about them. These feminist women, I ain't got to worry about them. They're illogical and stupid and ungodly. I ain't got to worry about them. All I have to worry about is man and woman in marriage. Watch how quick things will change. When you really, really value the family, and then you put pressure on people to get involved and get married. Watch how things change rapidly. But as long as we have this society out there where every individual whims and emotions are prioritized, and we're out here catering to individuals who all want to live selfishly, we're going to have problems, major problems. The unfathered are going to destroy this country. And that's why the people that want our country destroyed are building statues to the queens of the unfathered. That's why the New York's Times Square, they got that statue of the fat black woman, single, unmarried, unhealthy. Let's put up a statue for her. That's what we want America to look like and be. Unfathered, with an angry black woman in control. I want to play this last deal, and this is where I'm just talking about the illogic and I believe Paul Pierce, this is the former NBA star, I think his parents were married, but he has no respect for marriage. And this system that we've built, the media system, the influencer system, it elevates this sort of illogic and stupidity to normalize this chaotic, unfathered, matriarchal world that we have. And so Paul Pierce is on his podcast or somewhere, and it goes everywhere, it goes viral. Look at Paul Pierce. He's talking about, you only need to get married when you're 70 years old. Play the clip.
I'm listening.
Relationships, let me tell you what marriage is all about. Or let me tell you what marriage is and who's marriage for. Marriage is for old people and poor people.
Okay, so let's get into that. Why?
Because when you broke, our parents, like my moms and all them, they married on a merit of like, okay, we're going to put our incomes together, have all these kids, and then when our kids, we're going to have 5, 10 kids back in the 60s, all them, they're going to have 5, 10 kids so they can work and bring income.
Yeah.
So you poor. So you married for that. And now when you get old, somebody that to be by your side to take care of you. Right now, my mom got married. My mom never been married in my lifetime. She got married when she was 70.
Wow.
It was perfect. She had somebody by her side the whole way through.
So do you...
I really believe that. Like, that's what, like, outside of that, it's no advantage to a man. Why is marriage an advantage? What advantage, what does it do for a man when things go south? Like, we gonna have to give up half our this, pay child support, but what do it's only advantageous to a woman.
And I'm sorry for getting that wrong. I knew he said something about his mother, but I forgot she didn't get married till she was 70 years old. But Paul Pierce, like a lot of people that are wealthy, money becomes your God. And he thinks he has the money to pay for all of what he needs. And perhaps he does on this earth, and maybe that's all he cares about. But marriage, and I'm unmarried, and I used to have Paul's mindset, and I was an idiot like Paul. And again, as you age, you're supposed to get wise. and you're supposed to pass on that wisdom. Paul's not my age. Paul's probably 45, 47, somewhere in there. Someone help me out. He ain't quite 50, I don't think. But money is his God. And he thinks money solves all problems. So he's not very wise. He's detached from a biblical worldview, never mentions God. But here's, marriage is, as I've explained before, it's about the pursuit of holiness. It's about a pursuit of preparing yourself for eternity. It's about developing, it's about having kids and discipling them in the right way. It's about the birthing and developing and nurturing of your fruit. And if you want to do that properly, you need to be in a marriage. And so Paul doesn't have the ability or doesn't care because he lives in some gated community. He's got millions of dollars. He doesn't care about the chaos that the rest of society is experiencing. He thinks his money is going to protect him from all of that chaos. And it's not. I'm going to imagine Paul's got some kids. They're not going to be protected from this chaos. There's nowhere to hide from this chaos. And he's looking out, he can't see, like, man, look at these kids. And maybe he's not old enough to remember, but he should be. To remember, like, hey, man, there used to be a time where there was a gay kid or two in a class. But now they got all these young people. They don't even know, well, I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl. I have gender dysphoria. I'm pansexual this week. I'm bisexual next week. I'm this, I'm that. All of these things that when we were younger, we didn't have these issues. We didn't have this kind of chaos and gender dysphoria so pervasive throughout all of our classes and our school experience. This is all a consequence of the unfathered, the unmarried, the destruction of the patriarchy. Paul, I got enough money. I don't care that these women that are illogical are seizing more and more power and creating a more chaotic world. He doesn't care. He's got enough money. He hit the genetics lottery. He's 6'7". He can play some hoop, great basketball player. He doesn't understand. That's not the majority of men. That's not the majority of people. They're not going to hit the genetics lottery. His kids likely won't hit the genetics lottery. But he doesn't care because all he cares about is Paul Pierce. And as long as he's good, he couldn't care less about the rest of society. And he doesn't care, he doesn't believe in an afterlife. He doesn't believe in eternity. He believes this is it. And so he's going to try to have as much sex as he possibly can while he's here, make sure he smokes enough weed, drinks enough, throws enough parties, and that's it. That's all life is about to him. If you're interested in pursuing holiness, if you're interested in maintaining a great society, in being a part of creating one of the greatest societies in the history of the world, you have to pursue some level of holiness. And when you don't care about those things, that's where people reach a level of fatigue and will say, hey, we're not pursuing the same things, we're incompatible. And eventually, and it's much tougher to do, but it's like, I look out and I go, okay, Paul Pierce and everybody that thinks this way, let's put you on a reservation somewhere so the rest of us can get back to building and maintaining a great society. This thing needs to wrap up the same way things wrapped up with the Native Americans. They didn't want to get on board with an advanced society. They didn't want running water. They didn't want bathrooms. And look, I'm willing to be proven wrong. Maybe we would all be better off living in teepees, smoking weed, and killing buffaloes. And maybe it's just my laziness and my overweightness is like, man, I don't want to live in a teepee. I like my air conditioning. I like my 5 bathrooms. I like my steam showers. I like my sauna, like my cold tub, like my in-home gym. You couldn't get that in a teepee. I need a big-ass teepee to get all the stuff I like. And I didn't, Native Americans weren't interested in that. They wanted to smoke weed and drink alcohol, and they live out on reservations, and they're good with that. And I look at us, Black Americans, and I'm just like, is that what we want our future to be? And maybe we're already there. They just call them Section 8 housing. Maybe they're not reservations, they're just projects. And you smoke weed, you sell drugs, you're savage to each other, you just no different than the Indians. The different Indian tribes couldn't get along. They were like the Bloods and the Crips, the Vice Lords and the Gangster Disciples. Incompatible. Put them out on reservations and let the rest of us move on. And anyway, I wanted to get that off my chest. I wanted to come back and do a provocative topic. I'm sorry I missed all of last week. Couldn't do it. My voice is better. I just made it 90 minutes with just me talking. So clearly my voice is better. I got more coming. Steve Kim's going to come on. We'll talk a little Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk a little Bill Belichick. And then on the Harmony channel at the top of the hour, Shemeka Michelle and I will talk about Kanye West and his new song. It's causing a big doo-doo storm everywhere. It's been banned everywhere. We'll talk about that. All right, don't go anywhere. Steve Kim, next.
I never asked what we were doing or where we were going, so I just put a tie on. This is so cool. For the record, I didn't leave Fox News and go independent. Though I love that. You're such a sweet man.
Are you and Ben Shapiro going to sit down and talk on camera?
So if I had to pick a villain, I would just say I think credit card companies cause a lot more misery than the KKK.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
All right, welcome back. Steve Kim, just in time. My throat is starting to, my voice is starting to weaken. So Steve Kim, you can carry me and us for a few minutes here as we talk a little bit about Shedeur Sanders and just all the hype that his rookie minicamp got. And I saw someone, I can't remember who it was, but I saw someone say, all this conversation about Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski getting asked by a reporter, well, Shedeur he took the second team reps, he didn't take them with, it's like, this is why no one wanted Shedeur Sanders. Just there's too much hype around a 5th round pick. Your thoughts?
Well, based on what is going on social media, I believe like Letitia James in Times Square, he'll be getting a statue too. Right now, he is Mr. May. I mean, look, every quarterback that I know of at that level, they look good in minicamp and they look good against air and they look pretty good on 7-on-7s. But I do find it interesting. Every completion is a dime. Every long shot is an absolute rope. And I'm thinking, this reminds me a lot of boxing, Jason. Every time you go on social media, and let's say there's an average to pretty good prize fighter that works the mitts, they all look good. I've never actually seen a fighter, let's say at the 8 to 10 round level, they all look to a certain degree like Floyd Mayweather. They really do. You know why? Because the mitts don't hit back. So that's what I kind of think about it. But you're right. The amount of attention, the over-the-top adulation that is being given to a 5th-round draft choice right now, I think a lot of teams are looking at that. That's exactly why he was off our board.
So I don't know who the source of this tweet is or this post, but people were praising Shedeur for taking a team photo. I hope y'all understand how dope this is. He took a picture with all the guys that earned a tryout opportunity with the Browns. Can just tell he's a damn good teammate and a solid person. I wonder, some of this stuff on Twitter makes me think like this is bought and paid for PR, that this is where public relations is really done, is over social media and Twitter, and this all seems organized. It's not organic.
If Shedeur ends up making the roster, and based on that tweet, this is what I think is going to happen, Jason. If he shows up for team picture day with 44 of his other teammates, he might be in the Browns' Ring of Honor. Right up there next to Kozar, Ozzie Newsome, Jim Brown, Otto Graham, Shedeur Sanders. You know why? Because he showed up for photo day. Now that's a teammate there, Whitlock, right there.
And so there is another side to it as well in terms of there are people making fun of Shedeur. It's not just all praise. I think sometimes the sarcasm goes over people's heads, but one of the tweets that caught my attention was someone clearly mocking Shedeur. History made. Shedeur Sanders had another legendary showing in his second day at rookie minicamp yesterday. 28 of 30, 412 yards, 5 touchdowns. Sanders is the only player in NFL rookie minicamp history to throw for 400-plus yards and 5 TDs in back-to-back days. Then someone saying Sanders threw 81.5 yards. Shedeur Sanders just threw this ball 81.5 air yards. That would break the NFL record previously held by Baker Mayfield. Sanders has an arm. Some people did not catch the sarcasm, but I did. These types of jokes are going to be commonplace as it relates to Shedeur. Second straight, the previous record had been 36.5.
Yeah, but hold on. Yeah, he broke the record of Bob Golick, I think, but his smelled like roses. So that's again, I know you're not a Shedeur Sanders fan, but give this young man credit. The only way this tweet could have been even more perfect was to end it. Next stop, Canton. Now, I know I said we shouldn't take this. As I'm watching footage of Mason Graham, who was a top 5 pick, the stalwart inside out of Michigan, wobble around the field, I can't lie to you, though, Jason. I was like, wow, he looks mighty unathletic. But again, he's doing American Gladiator drills. Let's see what happens when the pads are actually on and you're playing some real football. But the interesting thing about Shedeur is, I'm reading reports that his jersey is already among the league leaders. He might, believe it or not, already be the most popular Cleveland Brown based on what I saw over the weekend. So let's fast forward about 3-4 months, Jason. We get into training camp. Let's say that other guy that just happened to be drafted 2 rounds before him, Dylan Gabriel, actually outperforms him. Flacco stays healthy. Pickett plays pretty well. The Browns have a bit of a conundrum, Jason. Do they keep the player that they drafted higher that internally the staff says, this is our guy? He is more suited to be the 3rd quarterback or just be on the practice squad? Or do we keep the popular guy? That I have a question, Jason. Does then Jimmy Haslam once again intervene?
That's a fascinating question. And so if Dylan Gabriel plays well, Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco, isn't Flacco back there?
Yes.
one of those guys is getting cut no matter what they do. It's easy to cut Flacco. He's old. He's not really going to lead you anywhere. Hold on. What are they doing with Deshaun Watson?
He's injured.
Is he out this?
Yeah, he's kind of injured. So we don't know his status. And Jason Flacco, a couple of years ago, played pretty good ball for Cleveland. And there's actually a chance, and this is an indictment on that whole room, he might still be their best option. Yes, even at that age.
Hey, listen, if Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur, but if Gabriel in particular shows anything, he'll end up being the starter, and Shedeur will end up being the backup. And Joe Flacco, if he should, that's the position. If Shedeur shows anything, he makes the team, and they have to let go of Flacco or Kenny Pickett, if not both.
Jason, that is a doomsday scenario for everybody, including Gabriel, Stefanski, and the coordinator. Because think about what's going to happen. You know it's going to occur. They're going to play a really tough defensive team, and I think Dylan Gabriel has a lot of the intangibles. The physical intangibles he lacks, and I don't know if anyone's good enough to overcome the fact that he's 5'10", doesn't have a great arm, and for all the talk of Shedeur throwing short passes, so did Gabriel. So I'm not so sure he has the pure arm talent or strength to be a full-time starter. But every time that this Brown offense goes 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt, you know what's going to happen, Jason. There's going to be a buzz around the stadium. The thing's going to go viral on social media. There will be loud chants for Shedeur. Who wants to be a part of that quagmire? Giggity.
Cleveland could, and this may be some risk to this, but you do all this hype around Shedeur, and you get into training camp, and someone gets hurt. Now Shedeur has trade value. If you can create a hype that, oh, boy, he was underdrafted, and look how amazing he's looked in Browns camp, and he's been this ideal teammate. Because I've seen all these posts. Look at Shedeur. He visited a high school. He did this. He did. I mean, everything that Shedeur is doing is showing up on my X feed. And to me, he's trying to do a rehab of his reputation. I don't know if you saw, I think it may have been Pro Football Talk or somebody said that the Giants won't release the video of Shedeur's visit with them because it's so bad it would bury him, and so they won't release it. But all of this seems like they're just Dion and Shedeur and their marketing team realize that Shedeur's reputation, the way he carried himself, cost him $30, $40, $50 million, and they're trying to rehabilitate this guy's image as a good teammate and a can't-miss talent. And I think they're hoping that someone has an injury during preseason or early in the season, and Shedeur has some trade value.
Jason, that's interesting. What could a fifth-round draft choice get 3-4 months later? I'm the only comparable situation I can come off the top of my head with. I remember in 1989, the Dallas Cowboys, when Jimmy and Jerry took over, it was an easy pick. It was Troy Aikman was number one, right? He would have been number one with Gil Brandt and Tex Schramm and Tom Landry. And then Jimmy threw a curveball into it, and Steve Walsh decided he wasn't going to stay for a senior year at the U. He went to the supplemental, and then Jimmy said, okay, you know what? I want to pick up another piece. And everyone knew Troy Aikman was the guy with the upside. And then they ended up trading Steve Walsh right during the 1990 season, and they got a pretty good haul. Jason, I'm not so sure that you get that much for Shedeur Sanders. Keep this in mind. It was only 2-3 weeks ago. A lot of these teams had him off the board completely. So, again, you're still talking about a relatively depressed, limited market. And as for that footage, Jason, I want to see it. I want to see it, and I will examine that thing frame by frame like the Zapruder film. And for all these people that saying, it's never been released, we've never, that's not true. Maybe not the meetings where the players go visit, but I remember last year when the New York Giants did an off-season Hard Knocks, Jason, on HBO. I don't know if you watched any of it. I loved it. They actually showed some of the meetings from the NFL combines and what Brian Dable and the rest of that staff puts a player through. They showed at least 3 or 4 players. So when people say stuff like that's never been released, that simply is not true.
Steve, I'm going to move on to Bill Belichick and a story that we missed last week because of my sore throat and a touch of COVID. But Pablo Torre came out with a report that Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's 24-year-old sugar baby, had been banned from the UNC practice facilities. UNC put out a statement. Let's read the statement from UNC. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the university or Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of his responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. Man, there's been a lot of conversation about Belichick and his young girlfriend. The guy that doesn't like the distractions has a pretty big one. He went to a Miss Maine pageant in support of Jordan Hudson, I guess, over this weekend. Here's Pablo Torre after UNC disputes his early report. He doubled down. Let's play SOT number 13, and then I'll get your reaction, Steve.
A couple of breaking news updates since what has happened publicly since we last gathered. Number one, okay? 2 sources at the University of North Carolina tell me that there has been a decision, was made last week, by the higher-ups inside the athletic department that had hired Bill Belichick to be the highest-paid public employee, not just coach, in the state of North Carolina at $10 million a year. And that decision was that Jordan Hudson is no longer allowed in the football building.
Okay.
She is not allowed on the football field. Quote, don't think you'll be hearing much from Jordan moving forward.
Wow. Dang, not in the building?
That's a little flippant. I feel like that is what is done with a distraction, and a team is within its rights to do that when it comes to external distractions.
Now, do we think, maybe we know, I don't know if we know, do we think this is like the athletic director at UNC being like, this is a problem? Or do you think it's Bill going to the athletic director and being like, I would really love it if you said this was a problem?
They said you can't come.
Yeah,
I would love to have you there.
Oh my God,
you're my cheerleader.
Who's got tarier heels than you?
You're my cheerleader.
You gotta be there, babe. But they Donnie's on my back.
Bubba Cunningham.
Is that his name? Bubba Cunningham?
Bubba, you know the way Bubba's.
You know how Bubba can be.
Listen, he's tough.
I think Bubba's jealous. I wouldn't say it to him, but I think Bubba's jealous.
Yeah.
That's my Bill Belichick impression.
That's really good.
That's ours.
Yeah, the most animated he's ever been.
So the theory of why any of this happening is a relevant conversation that I'm gonna ask you to put a pin in that.
Okay.
Because the second update is that Bill Belichick's family is extraordinarily concerned about what has transpired. One Belichick family source told me, quote, there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be for not just North Carolina, but Bill's legacy, reputation, everything he has built and worked for over decades. End quote. In fact, the family has been digging into Jordan Hudson as well.
Steve, you buying Pablo Torre here?
Well, first of all, tip of the cap to Pablo Torre. He's done some excellent work. I watched a good deal of that podcast on Friday. And by the way, the other two, especially Katie Nolan, they were not needed. Jeez, they are annoying. They just got in the way. But great reporting, and there's no doubt in my mind. My instinct tells me Pablo had it correct, and then UNC had to counter with their own shot to discredit that whole thing. But there's no doubt, just looking at this logically, UNC has basically told Bill and Air Jordan, you're not banned, but please don't come around here no more. And I don't know if it's a quid pro quo or if it's an official ban in the truest sense of the word. But I think there's also a part of Bill that does not want her around. I mean, we're kind of getting close to the season now. The second portal window has closed or will close. You got to start focusing in on football. I mean, Jason, last time I checked, he was brought in to actually coach a football program and to lead it. But like you said, Jason, at the beginning, the incredible irony is this: the man that did more with the Patriot way, as they called it, to limit distractions, has become the distraction of the offseason.
It's pretty amazing to witness and watch. I would have never imagined this, but I guess it just it goes back to the old adage, you know, ain't nothing worse than an old fool, and puss. I forgot I was on air, but
yeah.
Women and that special place between their thighs will make a fool out of any man. And Bill, I just, yeah,
it's a classic line from Boomerang at the Thanksgiving dinner with John Witherspoon. Marcus, don't whip that. Okay, but anyway, we're on air, so I don't want to give you the uncensored version of it. But it's the truth, and he's right now. He's not that. You know, he's not. He's on the other end. But I've been the week that you were off last week. I was binging this one station, 98.5, the Sports Hub of Boston. They are all over this story. I've sent you some of the links, some of the interviews that they've done with various insiders that are close to the situation, that were once covering Bill Belichick on a day-to-day basis. They aren't holding back. And Jason, it is absolutely abundantly clear. The Boston media loves this. They have the knives out. They are sharpening them, and they are not letting up at all. And it's revealing how much they actually hated this guy. Maybe not personally, but what he put them through as media members. And they had to hold back because he was the king. Well, Jason, right now, the emperor, literally in figure, has no clothes.
That's so weird because, and obviously I wasn't in Boston or in that area working, and limited, you know, I'd see Belichick at some Super Bowls or things like that, but never knew him. That he didn't bother me. He was like a harmless version of Popovich to me, where I've never liked Greg Popovich and the way he bullied people. It seemed Belichick didn't bother me that same way, and so it makes me think. I gotta tend to side with the media that dealt with him, because any guy that wins that much and brings you that much relevance, you'll put up with a lot, and you know, it's like take Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs and Brett Veach, the general manager. He's brought a lot of relevance and traction to Kansas City people in the media there. And it's not that they're bad to the media, but they don't go out of their way to please the media. But people don't hate Andy Reid or Brett Veach and all that. They are appreciative of the relevance that they brought to the Kansas City sports media. And for there to be no appreciation of Belichick, he must have been really awful to people.
Oh, he was. Jason, first of all, the fact that you kind of sort of don't hate Popovich, I guess you and Kenyon Martin have that in common. Anyway, more on that later.
No. I dislike Popovich. I'm saying I never disliked Belichick, even though he was a lot like Popovich.
Okay, because I think they were both kind of bad. Look, as a media member, I don't expect you to give me your game plan. And I don't even expect you to give me the most inner thoughts. I ask two things. Number one, never lie, or at least try not to lie. And if you're going to lie, don't make it a big one. Make it a white lie as you're protecting your team. I'm honest. I'm pretty realistic about our lot in life. Number two, just give me something to work with. If you're going to be Captain Cliche and you're going to spew out a bunch of coach speak, I can at least work with that and put it in and say, there's the context of what is going on. Belichick would go out of his way to take some of the most innocuous questions and I believe be rude, like, well, you know, I got any football questions? You know, we're on to Wake Forest. And I'm like, come on, man. Come on. And I wonder if a lot of the Boston media wishes that they were a little bit tougher. Now, that's a little bit easier said than done, but there is a point in time, Jason, where if you ever did that stuff to the media in Philadelphia or New York, guys like Dick Young, you'd have a battle. And it was great. Mike Royko, I'm sure Mike Royko did not suffer fools, because at the end of the day, all you're doing is coaching ball. Honestly, you can win 10 Super Bowls. You're not curing cancer. You're just a football coach. That's all you're doing. And I get having respect for someone's accomplishments, but this full-blown reverence just because you win some games and you never want to challenge anybody, I wonder if there is some regret in terms of that dynamic.
Hey, see if you can give Hadley the name of one or two of these guys in Boston that you're listening to. We'll see if we can get one of them on the show to see if we can hear from their perspective. That would be good. Steve, I'm going to let you go. Great job as always. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Guys, I want to remind you all before we leave and move over to Harmony, to make sure you're going to fearlessmission.com. Use the promo code FEARLESS to get your subscription to everything we're doing here at Fearless, everything we're doing over at Blaze TV. It's the best way you can support me and the Fearless movement. You can see the entire weekend we had with Tucker Carlson and Randy Houser. If you're a member, go to fearlessmission.com. Use the promo code FEARLESS. Save $20 on your new annual subscription. Head over to the Harmony channel. That's at Jason Whitlock Harmony. And Shemeka and I are going to have a conversation about Kanye West's new song, Heil Hitler, I believe is the name of it. It's caused quite a stir. We'll have that conversation over there in about 10 minutes from right now. Right now, we're going to play Freedom, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be, I just